Hello and welcome to Friday, April the 4th. Very late. Yes, Minxie is very upset. Very upset. No, it is almost 10 p.m., as you can see. 9:50, so, I did say the weekly the weekly questions might be coming a little later now that I'm back at Parks and Rec, and that's kind of what happened today. So, I woke up before my alarm to take my Eliquis, though. So, I woke up at some point, not because someone was screaming in my face, but I don't even know. I just randomly woke up and I'm like, oh, my Eliquis alarm is getting ready to go off in like less than 10 minutes. So I was like, I went ahead and got up and did that. But yes, I definitely, well, yesterday I ended up I fell asleep on the couch when I got home. And then I woke up at some point and I'm like, I'm not really tired. So I didn't go back. I didn't go to like actual bed. I didn't get a power nap or anything. I just stayed up until my alarm went off. So, but it's like, I get home from Parks and Rec and I crash out pretty hard, usually. So, and, since it's my weekend now, I didn't have any reason to wake up. So, I didn't set an alarm or anything. So, I just slept until almost 10 p.m. Or 9 p.m. But it's almost 10 p.m. now. I've been awake for a little bit. And oh, shit. And I'm like, oh yes, I still have a question to answer. So, but yeah, the last 2 days we've been doing things outside and it's been cold. Of course, like my allergies start kind of bugging me, so if I sound a little stuffy, but also I've been out in the cold for the last 2 days. Not as much today, but it's been cold outside. But yes, yesterday, we're told to put up new nets at the tennis courts. And then someone else higher up, I guess, decided, no, don't put them up. So the ones that you put up, take back down and put the old nets back up. And it's like, what's the point of having new nets if you don't use them? If you're just going to keep them in storage. But they weren't able to replace the one that they did change because they cut to get the net off. They cut the cords or something. So they just left up the net that they did switch out, and then fixed the other ones as best we could, and then but good times. But Pete did make fried potatoes for us today, so that was good. Got fed today. That was nice. So, but other than that, the week so far, of course, I'm way off anyway because I forgot at my regular job I took the first 3 days off because I had my doctor's appointment on Monday because Heather said something about if they let you do mods tonight or something, and I was like, oh, are you not here tonight? And she's like, no, and I was like, oh, that's right, because I took 3 days off. So I'm only working 2 days. I guess it threw me off because, Parks and Rec I do during the day. So since I was coming back Wednesday, I actually did work Wednesday for Parks and Rec. But then, overnight, I worked Wednesday into Thursday and then Thursday into Friday, my last 2 days at the regular job. So I guess that threw me off. I just assumed I was working 3 days at both jobs, but it's like, no, I guess not. So, Marilee and Sean are already, they come up randomly with an idea to go to St. Louis. Something, I can't remember, Marilee shared something in our little group chat that we have going. So, I tried to get Gail involved in it, but He doesn't have time off again until October, for some reason. I don't know if the plant shuts down that he works for. I don't know, but um, I put in for the days off, but it got rejected. So I just found out because I woke up to a text from Mary Lee, and she was like, "Oh, have you checked your days off?" I was like, "No, not yet." Well, I didn't say anything because I just woke up, but then I went and checked them real quick so that I'd have the answer for her, and it says rejected. So I don't know who rejected it. I mean, sometimes if HR rejects it, you can talk to your management team, and then they can make the decision whether to give you the days off or not. Um, but I don't know who all has, days off already and yada yada yada. So, but it's kind of like, how much PPTO would I have by then? By June. But so I don't know if we're going to restructure the trip, and I tried to get Gail involved in it. My buddy Gail, because he happened to mention in one of his videos, I'm behind in everything. I think the last video I watched was from 9 days ago. I don't know, but he had mentioned the Limp Mansion during his during one of his questions, or actually it was Missouri Day of History, something about the Limp Mansion. I can't remember what it was, but so he had just mentioned the Limp Mansion in one of his videos, and then Mary Lee and Sean just randomly come up with this, hey, let's go to St. Louis thing. There's something Mary Lee found on TikTok, and she shared it in our little adventures group chat. And then so now they're like, oh, let's go to St. Louis for a quick trip. I don't think the Limp Mansion is super expensive to stay at, so we're not planning on staying at the Limp Mansion, but maybe stopping by, maybe doing lunch, because they have a restaurant there that you can go to. As years ago, when Tiffany and I went to St. Louis, they were setting up for lunch when they opened, and they asked us if we were there to eat, and we were like, no, we're just looking around. They're like, okay, they're like, okay, look around, have fun, kind of thing, kind of like the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. They're like, we know why you're here. We don't care if you wander around, It's kind of, okay, do your thing. Of course, I don't think we could go upstairs because we weren't guests. But, as long as we could, because there's like a little museum toward the back. And we just kind of wandered around and looked at the downstairs area and took some pictures and yada, yada, yada. But, yeah. There's one, I kind of wish I'd taken a picture of this chair, because I don't know, for some reason I just had this thought, just like this random thought, that there was I don't know, I just had this picture in my mind that there was a lady sitting in the chair, and it's I can still see her with her hands folded in her lap, and she's looking out the window, and she has a tight little bun up here, and I don't know if there was little flowers or dots on her dress or whatever, but for some reason just all of a sudden in my mind I got this picture of this lady sitting in this chair. So I don't know if I was connecting to some sort of energy, or if it was just a random hey, your brain's misfiring, you're having a stroke, whatever, blah blah blah. But it's I wish I had taken a picture of that chair in that moment just to see if anything came out in it. But I guess I kind of felt silly, so I didn't. I was kind of but I wish I had taken a picture of that chair in that moment, just to see if maybe I'd caught an orb, or, a little something, but I didn't, so I'll never know. So that's my little Limp Mansion story that I have. So if we do go to the Limp Mansion, and I see that lady in my head again, I'm going to take a picture of whatever chair she's sitting in. Just to see. I don't want to make the same mistake twice, and then nothing's going to show up, and I'm going to be like, oh, well, that wasn't worth my time anyway. But we shall see. But yeah, it's super expensive to stay there, so we're not planning on staying there, but maybe stopping by for lunch. Just getting some food there and hanging out there for a bit. So But it is, of course, it's a haunted location. If you didn't know, it's a paranormal, hot spot. So I'm sure you probably knew that's why we were all planning on going there. But just kind of stopping off, kind of, making a visit, stop in and go. So I don't know if we're going to restructure the dates that we're going, or I don't know. But if we restructure the dates, maybe Gail can go. Because he has, Marilee already had the time off, and it had something to do with her brother, and whether or not he was going to do something, and then Marilee was like, well, if they're not going to do something, I'm just going to go do something else, because I already have the time off, which is why we were going to shoot for those dates. Of course, it's around Father's Day, so, there's that. But, so now we're in flux. We're not sure exactly. Marilee did post in our little group chat something about changing the dates because my days off got rejected. So sometimes, like I said, if HR rejects it, you can go to your management team and be like, hey, can you look at these dates for me? Because sometimes, they know more about what's going on, and, whether they'll allow, people off or not. They might be willing to work with you more so, since they're it affects them directly, you know what I mean? Because they're like, well, we're the ones who are going to be here on that date, so, if we're cool with it, but I don't know. I can't see on my phone, on my work phone, who rejected it. So if you look at it on the computers at work, it'll tell you rejected by blah 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 blah. Because that just happened for my if you put it in on the phone, it's stupid, because we're overnights and it doesn't put it in correctly. But even when you put it in correctly, it doesn't do it correctly still. I don't know. It's fucking stupid, because we're overnights. Technically we're supposed to select, like if you want Monday off, if you just want Monday off, you have to select, and they do it by military time. So you have to select the 2 hours on Monday that since Monday is the day that you want off. So you have to select like 2200 to 2400, and so that's your 10 to midnight, and then you have to do 0 to 7, because you work overnight, and your shift is from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next day. So it's like you have to select 0 to 7, the next day. So that way that it just shows that you want the Monday shift off, and then they can schedule you, they'll be able to schedule you Tuesday night at 10 p.m. again, because, our days run together because we're overnights. And they've never had a system that has worked fucking correctly, because I've done that shit a million fucking times. I've put it in the way that I'm supposed to do it, the right way, and it still takes me off the schedule for, like if I want it, like I said, I want Monday off. So, you select 0 to 7 a.m., and then, so they're supposed to be able to schedule you at 10 p.m. No, it takes you off the schedule completely for Tuesday. It never works correctly. It never has in, like, have I worked there 18 years? Am I barely legal? Maybe. I don't know. Never. It's never worked correctly. Just like every other system they put in place. But that's a whole other soapbox. So don't get me started. But, yeah. So I've put it... But if you put it in on the phone, it doesn't let you do that. It only lets you select the day or whatever. I don't know. So you have to put it in on the computer at work. Because that's what just happened. Heather had actually rejected my days, but then I asked her about it, and she was like, oh, it wasn't put in correctly. So she's like, but I already looked it up. Nobody else has those days off. So, if you go ahead and put it in the correct way, I'll approve it for you. And I'm like, okay, cool, because it's for my next doctor's appointment in 6 months. So, but, so that got approved, because I put it in the correct way, but I put this one in the correct way, and it got rejected. So, but we'll see about that. But, I mean, as far as my doctor's appointment on Monday went, wasn't much of anything. I showed up and he asked me if I'd had a CT scan, and I'm like, I've had an echo. apparently that's not the same thing. I don't know. And now I'm confused because I'm like, am I still supposed to have a CT scan? But Mom was saying something about, she's like, well, you've had an echocardiogram. You know, they've looked at your heart. They've scanned your legs. They don't see any more blood clots. Like, everything's cool. Everything's copacetic, apparently, because, you know, he even told me, you know, that the scans came back clear. So it looks like the, you know, any blood clots that were there have apparently dissolved. So I shouldn't end up with any more in my lungs. You know, fingers crossed. You know, so yeah, like that's basically just what he told me was, you know, everything looks good. Like, pay me $200 or whatever. You know, like it was. I don't really know why. I don't know why for the doctor, other than it's just kind of like a checkup. But Mom said she looked it up, you know, and I guess for like, you know, of course it hasn't even been a year yet since this happened because it was in late July, you know. So by the next time I go, it'll be September since it's 6 months. Everything's going to hit in September, you know, because it's like they scheduled me for him on Monday, and then that Friday turns out to be when I go back to my primary care physician here in town, because that's my 6-month checkup as well with her. So it's like, and then of course, you know, vacay day, Mom's vacation will be coming up. Sean is going with us again this year, so we might be able to get up there a lot quicker, because he can take like highways and stuff that, you know, Mom avoids like the plague since they go through big cities, and we might, Sean and I, Mom doesn't want to, we might be crossing the border, so because we're going back up north this year, so Mom just came up with a harebrained scheme. You know, she's like, I wouldn't mind sitting around the hotel for a day and feeding the birds and relaxing if you and Sean want to take a detour, you know, take a trip up to Canada since we'll be close, you know. Of course, Sean's on board for that, so I got to get my. I don't do a passport. I just do like the pass card, and I've had one before, but it expired many years ago. And I was looking up information on it, and it's like $65 if you've never had one before, and it's $30 if you renew. But I don't know if you have to renew before it expires, or since I've had one already. If they can look it up in their system, like, oh yeah, you've had one already, because I'd rather pay $30 than like $65. I'd rather pay, you know, half the price to get one of these pass cards, but it only allows you to go, you know, across the border basically for things that we're connected to. Like, you can get into Canada, you can get into Mexico. I think maybe Puerto Rico with the pass card. So it's like I've never done a passport because I just haven't seen, like, I mean, if Sean and I were to plan to go to Japan or something, you know, like where I would actually need, or like he's talked about doing the one of the cruises where you visit some of the European countries or something, like I would have to have my passport for that, but the pass card is only $30 if I can get the renewable price. But still, I think a passport is somewhere. When I was looking it up the other day, the passport is somewhere over $100. It might be like 160 instead of just 65 for the pass card. So I'd still rather pay 60 something for a pass card. You know, I think it's good for 10 years or something. But it's kind of like if I'm only going to go, if I'm only going to go to Canada once in those 10 years, you know, and Mom always has something come up. Her name gets flagged every time we've tried to pass. Every time the few times Mom and I have tried to go into Canada, her name gets flagged for some reason. And we think it's this lady who married into our family and wasn't the most reputable of individuals. She might be better now. I don't know. I don't think anybody really has contact with her. But she kept the last name. And of course, her first name is the same as my mom. So it shows up, you know, it shows up like, oh, is this person, you know, is this person, the bad one, you know, who I think she spent time, not my mom, As far as I know, my mom's never spent time in jail. But I think the other lady, the one who married my cousin, and then kept the last name, I think she's been in jail before, or maybe prison. I think prison's worse than jail, right? From my understanding of it, it means you did something worse, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, my mom's name gets flagged because her name is exactly the same as this lady who married into our family, who married my cousin, you know. So I guess they try to make sure that she's not this one, you know, but because the last time I think of course, Mom was the one under fire, but she was the one being asked all the questions. And the last time we were in the office, the first time I seem to remember we were sitting in the car, we were at the little stand or whatever, and the lady just asked her some questions, whatever, blah 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 blah, and then we're like, oh okay, went about our day, went on our journey, and then the next time they ended up having us pull over to the side, and we had to go into the office and ask questions, whatever, and we waited there a little bit of time. Mom says, oh, I mean, she was the one under fire. She was the one that was possibly, I guess, if she couldn't prove who she was, were they going to cart her off to jail? I don't know. But it's like, or just say like, no, you can't enter the country, go back. I don't know how serious the outcome would have been, but, we did have to pull the car over. We had to go into the office, and she had to answer questions in the little office. And I remember the guy was very like no nonsense kind of, because I think Mom was trying to be like friendly or nice or whatever, because whatever. And then the guy just wasn't having it. He was very like by the book, like here's this question, answer it, blah 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 blah. There wasn't any like small talk. There wasn't any. He was just very stern and kind of, I don't remember him being gruff or anything like rude or like a dick or anything. It was just very, very stoic, very like, answer my questions and blah 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 blah. So Mom was like, I didn't think we were ever going to get out of there. And it's like, I've told her multiple times, I'm like, I don't think we were, because she's like, I think she said the other day, she was like, I think we were in there for almost an hour. And I'm like, we weren't. From my recollection of it anyway, I remember it being, slightly a little bit longer than the last time, but it's like, I feel, from my recollection of the incident, I think we were out of there in like 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20, I don't know, but Mom was like, I didn't think we were ever going to get out of there. Like, and there again, she's the one being asked the questions, she's the one, she's the one under fire being raked over the coals, so maybe it felt longer to her than it did to me. But I told her the other day when she was talking about it, she's like, I don't think we were in that office as long as you think we were in that office. Maybe I'm misremembering it. It could be me. I don't know. I could be the problem. Hello, hi, it's me. But like, I don't know. I don't think we were, from my recollection of the events, we were not in that office as long as she thinks we were in that office. So, but she always has trouble, so that's why she doesn't want to go to Canada, because her name always gets connected to this other name. I believe, or maybe that's just always what she's assumed is the problem, But yeah, they don't want to let her in the country without some questions. But I mean, what's the statute of limitations? Like, wouldn't that eventually, even if her name was connected to the other one, like, wouldn't that like fall off your record? Or maybe it never does. I don't know. Maybe it depends on going to get a job, maybe it doesn't show up. But then trying to get into another country and escape, whatever, So, but anyway, that's months and months and months from now, and right now I have a question to answer instead of blah 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 blahing on. So let's find out what this week's question is. You can give, and in case you were wondering, I still haven't shit in my box. So, final update question now. You can give one item in your bedroom a magical property. Which item do you choose, and what can it do? You can give one item in your bedroom a magical property. Which item do you choose and what can it do? I feel like it should be my alarm clock. I will give my alarm clock a magical property to stop time, maybe? Slow down time, maybe? So that I can actually sleep. especially right now, working the 2 jobs, and, I still think about taking on a 3rd one on the weekends, maybe. Just a part-time job on the weekends to, just hopefully clear everything out. I've worked 2 jobs for the last 2 years, and I feel worse off than I was before, somehow, 2 years ago. Though, of course, there was the getting screwed on my taxes that didn't help me, and then there is the, the medical bills, all of a sudden, coming in last year that, just, while I'm fucked, might as well fuck me some more. Sure, why not? Thanks, universe. That would be handy to have an alarm clock that could like slow down time, or maybe like take me out of time for a minute. My alarm clock could be a TARDIS. Though, do you have to get in a TARDIS? I don't actually know how that works. That might not work. Exactly. I only know of 2 TARDISes. One of them's the phone box, and another one's a restaurant. But that's a whole nother topic for a different day, I suppose. If you know, you know. I guess a diner. I think it was a diner. Yeah. But those are just the 2 I know of, anyway. But you might have to actually get inside of them, because you have to get inside the. I don't know, but it's like can like take me out of time or something. Maybe not time travel. I'm not really talking about time travel, so that might be a different thing. It might not be a TARDIS, but just a place where I can go and then like return me to the same time. But it's actually been like 8 hours, and I've actually had time to myself, or time to sleep, time to maybe catch up on my stories or whatever. Like something that can take me out of time, and then or slow down time or whatever, to where like I can actually like get some sleep, feel like I've had some time, instead of just kind of like going from, especially like I said right now, going from one job to the next, to sleeping, back to the same job, blah blah blah, blah, then barely have a weekend, and then boom, it's right back to work every day, all day every day. So maybe just an alarm clock that I can set that would allow me to escape for a little bit, and like I said, either rest, or just sit here on the couch and be a bump on a log, and just sit here in my pajamas and not go anywhere or do anything, and just relax, and just like enjoy existing for a moment, even if I barely exist, even if I just sit here and mindlessly scroll through Facebook. Like sometimes it's nice to just kind of have a little decompression time, instead of like work, sleep, weekends gone in a flash, back to the same bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just kind of something like that. So that would be very, I feel like that would be very handy, for me, personally. It would also be nice if maybe my bed printed, I don't know, something, because I thought about that too. I'm like, maybe something that would like print money for me, like, I don't know. But so either my alarm clock, or maybe my bed, if I went and laid down in my bed and it just like took me out of time, just somehow, to where I got just the right amount of sleep. I don't ever actually feel like I've gotten the right amount of sleep, other than, like I said, I woke up the other day and ended up not even taking a power nap before I went back to work, because it's like I just felt awake, and I'm like, I don't actually want to be asleep for a change, So maybe a bed, that when I lay down in the bed, it would take, they're going to slow down time, take me out of time, whatever, and then return me to right when I need to, wake up, whatever. But I've had enough time to actually, like, rest and sleep and get all the rest that I need to be, functioning, I guess. I don't know. So even if that's like 10 hours, if that's 12 hours, if it's 3 fucking days, who knows? But then it returns me right back to, like, oh, So that I feel like would be very handy to have as a magical property of something. Since it's in my bedroom, I mean, if it was like my fridge, if it was something in your kitchen, I guess it would be an oven. Like, I think it could do like a magical, like, oven, kind of like the replicators or whatever they have in Star Trek, where it's like, Earl Grey tea hot, and it's like, boom, out pops whatever you want. Like my oven, could magically, like, make me a pizza, bring me Starbucks or whatever. I wouldn't eat Starbucks, but like bring me a Big Mac with fries. Just my oven would just cook whatever I wanted, and poof, it would be make me a bundt cake. That would be great. But we're talking bedroom. It specifically said bedroom, so I got to go with the magical bed that would make sure that I got the right amount of rest every time I laid down. And of course, I have to make it that far, because usually I fall asleep here on the couch. That's what ended up happening today, was I ended up falling asleep on the couch, and that's how it got to be 10 p.m. So, but anyway, that's probably a good enough answer on that. So, and you've been updated in my life. Not that there's much to update. It's, once again, work, sleep, repeat. So, yay. Adulthood and bills and obligations. Financial obligations and bull shit. Same old. But anyway, other than that, yeah, there's your question and update for the week. I always say question and update for the week, because that's kind of what it's become. Since, of course, it was always like a daily update before, when I was doing a daily question last year. But it's pretty much the same update. Like I said, it's the same fucking bullshit update every time. Unless I have an interesting story to share. But it's whatever. But there's your question for the week. And I just remembered the other day, I totally forgot I have this other book under here. The writing prompts. I haven't done a single one of those. As you can tell, and it's April now. Like, we're through three months of the year, and I haven't done a single writing prompt. So that book might have been a waste of money. But I remember when I said I bought it, I'm like, I don't know how often I'll do this. But obviously that is never. So, not that I won't do one. I probably won't do one. Don't expect a writing prompt. I don't know. Probably not. But anyway, other than that, I guess have a good weekend and have a good week, since I won't see you again. And my thingy's flashing at me, so it's probably about to come up. My SD card is filling up because I'm still having that problem. But anyway, other than that, thank you. Have a good week, and I shall see you for what I see you. Beat you, stupid flashing bastard.